Hi, I'm Soumya, an associate software engineer at Red Hat and an educator. Globally, I've been honored with the International Women in Open Source Academic Award as finalist. Start your open source journey with this one-stop guide. Early in my career, I started exploring and making open source contributions. In the beginning, everything was very difficult. Even those easy Git commands like git add, git init, which are so obvious now. But don't worry, I'm here to make things easy for you to understand. From exactly what is open source to how you can make most out of it, we will be discussing everything. And hey, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Hit the like button, and if you have any queries, drop that down in the comment section below and we will be happy to answer them. First thing first, before getting started with open source contributions, before adding those exciting achievements in your profile, make sure you understand what exactly is open source. So if we go on the web page of the official website opensource.com, according to opensource.com, the word open source is self-explanatory. Let me give you an example. In our daily lives, we use several software, several tools which are open source. For example, the web browser Mozilla Firefox, the code editor Eclipse, and alongside that LibreOffice, WordPress, Quarkus, OpenShift, a lot many are there. The list is really very long. We don't realize that okay, these big products are really open source, but they are. Basically what you can do is you can go on GitHub, and for all these products, these softwares, you can read their code. If while using the product, let's say you are using Firefox, right, and there, let's say you're a web developer, you feel that okay, there is some enhancement, there is some feature which as a web developer you can add. So what you will do, you will go on the GitHub page of that organization, Mozilla Firefox, and there you will see in the repository, in the project section, you will find that project, and in the issue section of that project, you can create an issue that hey, maybe you want to solve a bug, or maybe you want to add an enhancement or feature. Just create an issue for it and tag the admins, the project maintainers. They will come, they will see the issue, and if you will express interest, then maybe they'll assign that issue to you. Then you can start working on that. You will write your code to fix that bug, or maybe add that exciting enhancement or that exciting feature in the product. And if the maintainers will approve your code, they will review it all. Once it's all done, then your pull request will be merged in the project. Wait, if you are feeling that these words are tough for you to understand, like pull request, merge, I will be explaining everything in detail in the demo that we have by the end of this session. Also, the very exciting thing about doing open source contribution is, let's say you created that issue and you worked on that. So your code will be merged in that big product, in that big software, and you can share with your friends, with everyone, that product which millions of people are already using. You can tell that hey, that button which you see on Mozilla Firefox, that's developed by me. I wrote that code. See how exciting that sounds, really. So apart from this thing, there are a bunch of more benefits of doing open source contribution. We have just understood a basic overview of what exactly is open source. We will be obviously covering many more things around it. Now that we have a basic overview of what exactly is open source, so let's try to understand who is this for, who all can participate, who all can make open source contribution. Let me tell you, if there is not any specific open source program, then anyone can contribute to open source projects. Yes, even if you are a high school student, you are doing your graduation, your BTech, your BCA, any degree, even if you are a working professional and you have some eagerness, some curiosity to contribute to those big open source projects, you can do that. There's one beautiful thing about open source communities. You won't see any discrimination. All over the world, like from every corner of the globe, you will see people getting involved in that. In those exciting big projects, like I was part of AnitaB.org community. They have some mobile app development related projects. Many people from all over the world, from India, USA, Germany, from everywhere, you will see folks of all like variety of age group. You will see them working on the project. They will, some of them will be making contribution related to code, others will be doing UI UX design stuff. So that's really very beautiful community, and you will be learning a lot many things. So I hope this point is clear, that if you want to get started with open source, there is no restriction. You can do. The only thing that you need is a curiosity to contribute to those open source projects. And make sure, like this open source thing which I said, I mean, it's open for everyone, but when you participate via a specific program, let's say Google Summer of Code or MLH, they have some like open source programs under them. If you participate via those programs, so they have some eligibility criteria. Like gsoc initially only allowed university students to participate in the program. Only folks who were like in their maybe first or fourth year in their graduation, only they were allowed to make proposals for the projects of gsoc. But last year they extended it to everyone. Now anyone, if you are in university or maybe if you are a working professional, you can participate in that program. So some programs have a specific criteria, some have like age criteria as well. So if you want to do open source contribution via those programs, make sure you go through the eligibility criteria as well. Apart from that, if you just want to get started, just want to understand the flow of how things are done, you are free to do that. You can make open source contributions easily. I mean, there is no eligibility. You can just clone the project, fork the project first, then clone into your local machine and start coding. If you want to do something around design, you can do that as well. So I hope this point is clear to you. Who is this for? Now let's understand what are the benefits of doing open source contribution. What will you get out of this? Learning experience, earning potential, build portfolio, upskilling, networking, and giving back to the community. I will be sharing my open source journey, how I started out, what were the hindrances, the obstacle which I faced in the beginning, and you can take notes out of it so that you don't repeat the same mistakes. So after learning basics of coding, data structure, algorithm, everything, I was very excited and very keen to learn how to develop mobile application. I learned that skill. After that, I had to reuse that skill somewhere. I was very much willing to work on some real world, some big project where I can use that theoretical knowledge. So apart from doing like freelancing stuff, I was like looking to work on, some big project which millions of people are using. One of my senior advised that you can start with open source contribution. You will get an opportunity to interact with, to learn with like principal senior software engineers out there. Like before actually entering into the IT industry, you will be getting a good exposure of how things are done, how you can write clean code, how you can talk to your team members, the other software engineers, the admins, maintainers of the project. So I started exploring, I started finding where can I like get the right open source project for myself. So I learned the skill mobile app development in Java and Kotlin. So I like put those filters like Java, Kotlin on the explore section of GitHub. I got plenty of results. I got many projects. Then I was very confused to see that long list of projects. I went to the page of gsoc. I tried finding some apt project for myself. From there, I like discovered like the documentation, everything in detail of two organizations, basically anitaB.org and Mifuz organization. They had plenty of projects written in Java and they were slowly migrating to Kotlin. That was exactly what I was interested in. So I like joined the community. I saw that okay, so many developers from all over the world, they were making contribution to those big projects. They were mainly written in Java, so I was comfortable like understanding the code. Things were clearer to me, and that was kind of making me more like interested and curious to do the open source contribution. So I like forked the project, I cloned that into my local machine. This is very challenging, let me tell you. Sometimes in the beginning, while doing the setup of the project itself, we as developer get so much scared. I mean, they are such huge, such big project which are already having thousands of lines of code written by different type of developers, and that's not very easy to understand. I mean, the entire flow of the project, which file is working in which way, it takes time. Some people give up at that initial phase only. Just don't give up there. Try to understand the code base. So make sure you go through the issues section of that particular project on GitHub. They have some labels as well, beginner friendly label, or maybe first timer issues. Such kind of labels are there. You can put those filters and you will get the right set of issues to work upon for that particular project. This is such a tip which is very useful if you are looking for some problems, some issues to solve in that particular project. Also, in the starting, like when I was just starting with the open source contribution in the community, I was kind of very hesitant to ask queries. Like, there are obviously some stuff which you can get the answers from the internet. You can just Google it out, right? Maybe how git add command works or such basic stuff. But if there is something specific about that particular product or that particular project, then you can certainly ask from the project maintainers, from the project admins, that hey, like what this piece of code in the project is about, or maybe if we can try to add some more features. If you have such kind of specific doubts or concerns, maybe you can put that in the wherever the community is discussing everything, maybe Slack or Zilip, anywhere, right? So these were some of the pointers basically which I feel are significant and you should take care of. Let's now talk about how you can find the right project for yourself. It's very important. Suppose that you are now curious to do open source contribution. You want to contribute to those exciting big projects. But if you are not able to choose the right project, then it's of no use, right? So there are 3 to 4 platforms or places from where you can find the right project for yourself. So what I used to do, on GitHub itself, on the web page, there is that explore section. You can go there and you can put the right filters based on your interest. Let's say if you are into web development or machine learning or any particular domain, make sure you put those keywords there, and the projects which are of that particular domain, if you, let's say, added the Python filter there, so the projects which are having that Python label, they will show up there. You can have like variety of sorting criterias. You can sort based on number of stars the project is having, or maybe if the project is active or not. Those things you can check out before starting the contribution. Another good page, another platform where you can find the right project for yourself is the gsoc website itself. For go on the past year projects, you can again put some filters there, which tech stack you are interested in. Just put those filters there and you will get those kind of projects, the projects which you will be interested in. Now that you have some shortlisted projects, right, some projects which are of your interest, then you can maybe start reading the documentation of that particular project, and after doing some exploration around all those projects, you can pick the right ones, those which you feel are apt for your interest, those which are having some impact as well. Try to understand how many people are using that product, what are the contribution guidelines, what's the impact that project is making, right? So these are the 2 main ways by which you can find the right project for yourself, either the explore section of GitHub, or you can go on gsoc website as well and put right filters over there. If you have a specific project or product in your mind to which you want to contribute to, you can do that as well, apart from the first 2 ways that we talked about. Now that we have got an overview of how you can find the right project for yourself, let's talk about some of the platforms which you should know about, because in open source communities, there are some platforms on which the community discuss everything. It might be Zulip, Slack, Discord, or any such community. So when you are just starting out, let's say you got some open source community to contribute to from the gsoc website. So there you will see the irc channel. You can go there and you can talk to other community members. There will be like project maintainers, admins, everyone. You can start asking your doubts, or maybe you can just express your curiosity and give your introduction to the entire community out there. Now let's talk about some of the significant pointers which you should keep in mind when you are just starting out. First, check that the product is active. Make sure that there are contributions going on. It should be like on GitHub itself, you will see that green graph. If like the recent contribution is some 24 hours ago or maybe 48 hours ago, that means that okay, the project is kind of active. You can also understand this thing by just scrolling through their IRC channel. Like if the developers, the project maintainers are discussing things there, if everything is like going and like people are talking to each other about issues and all such stuff. So this is one thing which you should take care of. Another important pointer is do check that they have a contribution guideline written, because those projects which are good and which have like a good community, they make sure that they have a good contribution guideline as well. Do read the documentation thoroughly. Also make sure that the project is having licenses and everything. And also like when you are just starting out, when you are a beginner, it's important that the project maintainers and admins are welcoming, they are inclusive. That will make your experience easy. If let's say if the maintainers and all such people are not transparent, they are not kind of welcoming, so it will be hard for you to explain everything. Let's say if you have some doubt, you will ask that on the community channel, but if you don't get much traction from the maintainers themselves, that will somewhere not boost your confidence, right? So it's important to understand that okay, the community is welcoming and they are transparent for all type of contributions. Now let me tell you another very significant pointer. When we just start with open source contribution, many people say that only coders, only software engineers can do that. If you are good in UI UX or maybe testing, advocacy, then also you can be a part of those open source communities. You can contribute there in different ways, not only coding. So let's say if you are in first year of engineering, or you are just starting out and you don't know much of coding, you don't have that much good knowledge of any programming language, it's fine. You will learn on the go, right? So if you are kind of just willing to get involved with the community, go there, check the project, read the documentation. If you feel that there is something which can be added, which can be fixed in the documentations, just like make a PR, make a pull request for that. So there are plenty of ways: testing, coding, dev advocacy. If you are good enough, like you have a good experience, you can be mentors as well in those open source programs, in those open source initiative as well. You can like help the newbies out there who are just starting out to get started with open source. There are a bunch of things which you can do if you are curious to do, right? Let me tell you some of the open source initiatives, some of the open source program which you can participate in. That will be really a great learning experience for you when you have a decent experience with how the open source contributions are done with the entire workflow. So first is Google Summer of Docs. Second, Google Summer of Code. Outreachy is the third program, which is very interesting. It's for like female techies out there. They can participate, they can do open source contribution. There are certain rules and regulations for each of these programs. Fourth one is MLH. They also have kind of open source track in which like they expect applications from developers out there, from developer community. They have rules and regulation. They shortlist applicants, and then like a specific period of time is there for which the selected applicants work on a specific project, like 12 week, 6 weeks, and they are paid as well. So most of these programs which I'm talking about, they have some reward, they have some like pay structure for developers out there. Girl Script Summer of Code is another one, and if you're just starting, you can also try with Hacktober Fest. 24 pull request is another one. When you are just starting out, it might happen that you will face some roadblocker, which I also faced when I was just a beginner. Might be that there are some lack of beginner friendly issues in that particular project. What you can do is, let's say if that's a mobile app development related project, so you can just clone that particular project into your system. You can run that. If while running you face that okay, there are some bugs or maybe there are some features that you can add, you can create issues for that, right? And you can work on issues created by yourself. So that's one thing you can do. And if you feel that okay, that's a very hard project for you to do as a beginner, maybe you can try selecting another open source project of the same domain which are having like same tech stack. When you are just starting out, it might happen that you are not very much confident about the technical skills that you possess. You might feel that others are very senior and you have less knowledge, so you can't do open source contribution. It's not that way. You can contribute in other sectors as well, like documentation, testing, or maybe just mentoring the newbies or dev advocacy. If you are interested in leadership kind of roles, you can do contribute in those ways as well. Another significant aspect is time management. When we are in college, we somewhere have so many things to do that it is hard to contribute to open source projects, right? We sometimes don't find that much time to do these things. But I tried finding good time for doing all these things, and trust me, it's all worth it. It really counts. So make sure that take baby steps. It's not mandatory for you to like the whole day just sit and write code for that particular open source project. It's not mandatory. You can maybe in this starting take out 20 minutes or 30 minutes and do a small contribution. That will also matter a lot. Just try understanding everything slowly and things will fall in place. Two of the resources which might be very helpful for you are opensource.guide. That website has everything mentioned in detail, how you can make your first pull request, how you can start your open source journey. Second one is the first contributions repository. You can make your first pull request there on that project to understand how the flow works. Now that we have covered lot many things, the theory stuff of how you can do open source contribution and what are the benefits, we talk lot many things. We also cover the initiative, the open source programs that are there which might help you a lot. You can add those things in your resumes as well. That may help you in getting the right internship, in getting the job offers, because when you give interviews and you have these things mentioned that okay, you wrote code for that open source project which is such huge, such big, so interviewers will also understand that okay, he or she has written code for such a big project, so would be having some decent knowledge of coding, right? So certainly this counts a lot. And now we will actually see how you can do open source contribution, how you can make the first pull request. So let's see that in the demo. Let's say you have to start the open source contribution to any specific project. For the demo part, to explain you the steps, that what commands, what steps are involved, I'm taking this project first contribution. The very first thing that you have to do is fork the project. And obviously, I suppose that you know what are the prerequisites for doing the open source contribution. You should have a GitHub profile. Like I have my own GitHub profile over here. In the same way, you can create yours, and you should have Git installed in your local machine. That's very important. To do that, you just have to write Git, download Git on any of the web browsers out there, and that will do the work for you. Let's say I open up a new tab and I say install or maybe download Git. So you will see download Git, like the first link that you get on the web browser. Just click on that based on which operating system you have, like Windows, Linux, macOS, anyone. Just click on that and you will be like, they will show you the steps like how you can install Git in your local machine. Git is a version control system to keep a track of the history, right? So GitHub and Git, these are two things that you will need before doing the open source contribution. So let's now fork this project, which is step number 1. So I will just click on create fork. What will happen? A copy of this project will be created in my account. So if you notice, the initial URL was this one, github.com/first contribution/first contribution, right? This is the username, the name of the organization, and then the repository. If you see the forked copy, so the username is my name, Soumya Vansingh, and then first contribution, which is the project name. Basically, forked copy is your own copy of the project. You can make any changes in there and when you have to submit that change in the main project, you will be making a pull request, that is a PR, right? Now that you have forked the project, let's clone it. This is step number 2. Just copy this link in the, like when you will click on the code button over here, you just have to copy the link, then go in the terminal. If you are on Windows, then like let's say on desktop itself, when you will right click, you will see git bash here thing, you can just do that. And if you are on any other system, you can always follow the terminal as well, right? So on desktop itself, I will do git clone, which is the next step after forking the project, right? So what it will do is, it will like clone that particular project into that directory. Now that I already am having first contributions project in the desktop directory, so it's saying that okay, this project already exists. So if we check here for explaining things again, I mean, I recently gave a demo for this, that's why this project is here. To explain it all again to you all, I will be just removing this project so that things are clearer to you. So what we will do, we will git clone the project. You can see it's 100% complete. Now the project is here in my desktop directory. Now another significant thing, we will cd into that project, that is first contributions project. So we have done two things, we forked the project and then we cloned it into our local machine. Why we did that? So that we can make any change to that particular project. Now let's say you got some exciting issue to work upon from the issues section. You can spend time to find that. I mean, what's the issue that you want to work upon. For now, I'm assuming that okay, I have got some issue to work upon and I will be following those steps, like how can I make my first pull request. Okay, the very first thing, never forget, whenever you have to submit your code, your work, just create a new branch. Okay, the command for that is git branch -b and the name of the branch. So for now I will say new PR. Always make sure that, let's say if the issue number is, if you click on this one, so here the issue number is 50803, right? So what you can do is, you can make a branch, name branch and then name of the issue, number of the issue, right? That will help you keeping a track of what issue you are working upon. So step number 1, you will create a branch. Here's a typo in the name of the branch, so we'll correct that, git branch -p and the name of the branch, right? Okay, git branch b and then the name of the branch is, like you can give any name, right? Like previously I gave new PR. Basically the command is git branch b and name of the branch. Okay, so once you have forked the project and clone that in your local machine, the next thing that you are gonna do is create a new branch. For that, the command is very simple, git checkout -p and the name of the branch that you are gonna create. For now, we will use a simple name, new PR. You should use a meaningful name of the branch so that it's easy for you to track everything. Let's say if the issue number is 003, then maybe you can keep the branch name branch 003 so that it's easy for you to understand on which issue you are working upon. Once you have created a new branch, what you will do is, you will make the changes in the code based on what the exact issue is. For now, we have this simple project, first contribution. What I will do in the contributors.md file, I'll add my name over there. This is just an example, like you can write code, or you can make some design changes based on what the exact issue is about, right? For now, I will do a simple thing. I will just add my name over here because this is a simple like issue which you can try out to just understand the flow of how actually you can do open source contribution, right? So I will just do this simple thing. I'll paste the link over here and after that I will save these many changes. So now that these changes are saved, what you can do, you can keep a track of what changes you have made using the command git status. So you can see it's telling you that okay, contributors.md file that has been modified. So what you will do next is add these changes. You can add the changes file by file, like git add the name of the file, or if you will do git add dot, then that will add all the changes. Now if you will do git status, you will see this is green in color. That means the changes that you made, they are now integrated. I mean, those changes, they have like selected those changes in, they have accepted that, right? That has been added. So the step number 1 was forking the repository. Second, clone it in your local machine. Next is create a new branch, and after that make the changes based on what the issue is. Work on that particular branch for as long as you can take. I mean, if the issue is long, if it's bigger one, you can take a week as well, right? Some of the issues are, let's say if enhancement issue is there, that will take time. Easy ones will not take that much time. After making the changes, just add the change, git add dot. It's a very simple command. And once you have added the changes, next thing you have to do is commit these changes, and with this option M, you have to give some message. If you work in a team, then it's important that you give some meaningful messages so that it's easy for other team members to keep a track of what you are working on and what changes you made in the project. So we will say git commit -m, and I will just write maybe first commit or something like that for now, but make sure you write a meaningful message while you make the commit, right? So I'll press enter, and this one is done. Now the final step is you did git add, git commit, and you have to push all these changes on GitHub, right? And then you can make your pull request from there. So for that, the command is again very simple. Git push origin and the name of the branch. The name of the branch is master, and what origin is. So basically origin is this address, the main address. I mean, after forking the project, you will get origin by default. You can check the exact address of origin as well. So if you say type git remote v, so you will get a list of all the remote URLs you are having. So you can see origin is having this URL, right? So when you will push anything to the origin, in your original repository, all the changes will be pushed. And you can add more remote URLs as well by a simple command, git remote add, and name of the remote. If you want to, let's say, add upstream URL, like the original project's URL, which is this one here, you can see the first contributions one. This is the original upstream URL, so maybe you can add this, and the name of this URL will be upstream. So just paste it here. So now you can refer to this URL with this name upstream. And now when you will run this command, so you can see we have origin as well as upstream over here. For now, as what we were doing, we were pushing all the changes. So git push origin, we know what origin is. Origin is that URL, right? And master is the name of the branch. So that's it. We will just press enter, and okay, just try again. Let's see what the issue is here. Okay, so if we do git branch, okay, so right now the branch name is like the main branch is not master exactly, it's main, and right now we are on new PR branch. Okay, so what we will do, we will say git push origin main, as simple as that. Okay, and new PR. So this is the final step that you have to do. You have to push all your changes, and you will see you can create a pull request from this URL over here, and the project maintainers, the admins of the project, they will get the notification that okay, you have made these changes, right? So I will make the I will click on create pull request. Before that, let's modify the description to make it meaningful. I'm just giving a demo right now, so I will just say demo and pull request. I will later on close this pull request because it doesn't make any sense, right? So create pull request, and that's all. I mean, this is the thing that you have to do. So basically, to summarize, what are the steps? Step number one, you have to fork the project, the original project. Then you have to clone it into your local machine. Once you do that, after that, you have to like create a new branch. You have to add all the changes in your like whatever code you have written. You have to add all those things, git add dot. After that, commit those changes and just push them onto the main branch, onto the branch exactly on which you are working on. That's very important. So this was all for this demo. I mean, these are just 5 to 6 steps which you have to keep in mind. The flow will be same, and if you are going to start your open source journey, make sure you keep all these pointers in mind. I hope this video was useful for you in understanding everything about open source. If you are new to our channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and if you have any doubts or queries, drop them down in the comment section below. Keep upskilling and create impact.